Welcome back to my channel. If you're here for the first time, my name is Koala Puffs. I like finding random things online and showing them to you, or telling you weird stories, or playing some games. Honestly, I just like doing things. I don't like being bored, and every time when I'm doing something, I turn on the camera because I want you to be able to do it with me. We could do it together, and it's nice. It feels like we're a team. Today, I thought I would tell you guys a story time of all the odd jobs that I've had, all the jobs in general. Some of them are typically normal, some of them kind of different than you would expect. We're going to go through all of that today while I roll something with my Meister box. You guys remember this box? I hotboxed my mom's car using this box. At the moment, YouTube has decided, let's remove the hot box. It's okay, we're fighting, and hopefully they bring it back. But I'm bringing the box back, and it's full of things. I have here, we're going to roll one joint with Raoul and one hemp wrap. So I got one of each. I got a grinder, a little ashtray, my ganja, and I have a lighter, and also like this whole tray. Let me demonstrate. First of all, these are all magnetic, come out if you just want it to not be divided up, totally up to you. And then the whole tray itself, actually, check it out. It's such a strong magnet. Come on! Da-da-da-da-da. As I said, it's all magnetic, which is really nice. I know I'm not supposed to be telling you, but sometimes my friends like to roll a little something while I'm driving, and I drive fast. I go around cars. So they're always losing their stuff. Not anymore. All magnetic. Even the lighter. So we're gonna use this. Gonna roll one of each and start with story time. Before I move forward, the one question that always pops up when I film in this chair is, where did I get it? I got it from Wayfair, got it online. It wasn't as expensive as you would have thought, but it's definitely not cheap because it's like metal and it's heavy duty. It's a nice chair, but it allows you to swing around. It does not come with the twinkles. I put them in myself, hence why they look so messy. Let us begin. I'm going to roll on this, put this on that, so I have it all right here. Let me take us all back.
Way back.
To me living in Chicago when I was 16 years old. I lived in this area called Belmont and Central. Those are the cross streets. It was kind of like a well-known cross street. That's where I lived. I went to school near there for a couple of years. I also had my first job there. The very first job that I had was working at a restaurant. It's called Mamma Mia Chicago Pizza on Belmont and Central. It was a family-owned restaurant that opened. The owner and his wife were working, and so I don't think they were really planning on like hiring somebody anytime soon, but I kept coming back because I really wanted a first job. I was like, hire me, are you guys hiring yet? And finally they did, and so that was my first job, working at a pizza joint. Had bomb-ass pizza. It's under a different ownership now, but I hope the food might be still the same. So if you guys live in the area, go check it out. So I started out waitressing, then I would train some new girls, and we hired some, other people. We started doing deliveries. It was a fun little first job, honestly. Like, a lot of my friends would come and hang out with me at the restaurant while I was working because it was mostly delivery, so it was very slow inside. So they would just come over with their homework. This was like high school and college. So they would come over with their homework and just hang out, and we would all talk, and it was just kind of a fun time for everybody. I loved that first job. Not a lot of people say that they love their waitressing job, but I loved it. The atmosphere, the environment, I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot. Plus, whenever the boss wouldn't be around and it was slow, I would go in the kitchen and I would just like make a bunch of different foods, and I loved it. It was so fun for me. Let me finish rolling this up before I tell you all my stories. I wish the paper was pink also, but it's just white. Okay, it also comes with a crutch, or a bunch of crutches actually. Super cute. Okay, This job was very meaningful to me because I hold a lot of memories with it. Not only was that my first job, but it was also during that time I bought my first car. I had my first boyfriend during that time, and he would come over and hang out, so that was kind of a big deal. While working at that restaurant, actually, you guys, is where I first fell in love. I was like 17 on to 18 years old. I had this boyfriend. His name is Alan, and that was my very first like official boyfriend. Oh my God, it was pure high school love. He doesn't talk to me anymore. I'm not quite sure why. I've tried to reach out a few times to see how he's doing, just to check in, and he was not responsive, so that's all right. Got my J here. So everything here was ground up with Rowell. Everything except for the weed and the lighter comes in the Rowell rolling kit, which I really like. I partnered up basically my Rowells with my Meister container because I just keep my Rowell inside my box so I can always roll a joint, which is nice. All right, got our little J here. Now let me quickly grind up some flour to put in this so we don't have to take any more breaks. Okay, so while I'm working at this restaurant, this is from 16 on to like 18, so like 2 years. While I'm working there, it started when I was in high school, and I actually graduated high school at 16 years old because I was homeschooled for a while prior to that and got to skip a little bit ahead. Once I turned 17, I went to community college and I was still working at this restaurant, and I was like, I need something different. I need something new. I don't want to be switching up, you know, my scenery in my school front, but keep it all completely the same on my work front. I want to grow as a person, so let's do something different. I don't even know how, could not even tell you. Oh no, yes I could. Okay, so next door to the restaurant, or like not next door, but like a couple of doors down, there was an auto shop, and it might still be there. They ordered food from us. I hand delivered it because it was like right next door. So my boss was like, just go ahead and just bring it to them. The owner was like, oh, you're always working. When I see you, what do you do? Do you go to school? Like started asking me all these questions, and was like, oh, we're looking for somebody to like do our accounting and like help out around the shop a little bit if you're interested. So I was like, yeah. All right. I'm like, yes, I would love to. So I start working part-time at the restaurant, part-time at the auto shop, and like was taking a couple of classes at my community college. But like, I'm just not a school type person. I have mad respect for people that are. I've had so many friends that are just brilliant. But I was just never good at school. Like I couldn't pay attention. I don't know. I wasn't taking that many courses in my community college because I was like, I'm not a school person. Like I'm not happy here. I don't know what I want to do, but I know I don't want to go to school. And also like, I didn't want to spend a bunch of money to try to figure out what did I want to do. Like if I would have spent money, if I was like, I want to be a doctor, and I like knew that right away, and I was like, I'm forever going to be a doctor. That's fine. I would have totally been like med school. Here we go. But that just was not the case. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Got my joint, got my hemp blunt, got my Meister lighter, got my Meister ashtray. Let's continue this without interruptions. Start with a hemp blunt. I start working at the auto shop. I continue working at the pizza shop. Love it. Love the change up. Love that there's so much movement going on in my life. I was just so happy. Then, I still have everything in my lab here. So then, randomly, I get invited to a party. This was just the coincidence of how things work out in life and why you have to just go with the flow when life hands you certain roads that they want you to go on. My friend's friend is throwing a party. Hey, my friend is having a party. Would love for you and your friends to come. It's gonna be kind of like a big thing. I was like, you kind of live far, probably not gonna happen. Bear with me, there's a point to this. Last minute, at like 11 o'clock at night, my friends are like, let's just go. Let's just drive out. We have nothing to do. It's the weekend. Let's just go. So we go. I end up hitting it off with this girl. Her name was Lexi. We become really close friends, and she tells me through the evening that she's about to be moving to Los Angeles. I'm like, no, I just met you. I like you. It is so rare that I meet somebody, and right away I'm like, let's be friends. You know, usually I'm very cautious. I have my guard up. So this was like the little weird love at first sight kind of situation for a friendship. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever had that? You had to. So she moves to Los Angeles. We start visiting each other back and forth. She comes back to Illinois. I pick her up from the airport. She stays with me. I then come visit Los Angeles, and I fall in love with LA when I come and visit it. I've never explored Los Angeles like this. I've been to LA, but with my parents. So it's like, how much are they gonna let you see, really? So I come back home to Chicago, and it's freezing, of course. It was like October, so it's like cold in Chicago. Still really warm in LA. So I come back, I'm like, Mom, I think I want to move to LA. She's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm happy here. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just working random jobs, going to school, but nothing makes sense. Like, why am I doing these things? It took some convincing, but my mom was like, fine. Because at this point, I was 19 years old. She's like, fine, go ahead if you think this is the right move. So what I did is I quit both of my jobs, quit school after like a year and a half. I was just not into it. I was like, no. At that time, I just gotten my puppy Aria. So she is 6 years old now. But at the time, she was like a couple of months. I put her in my car. I shoved everything in my car that fit. In the meantime, my friend Lexi was looking for an apartment for us out here in LA. I end up driving from Chicago all the way to LA. Not like, I don't even have a plan in mind. I'm just like, I don't want to live in Chicago. I want to be in a warm city. That's literally like, I'm driving, not thinking about what am I going to do. Lexi had told me that prior to me moving out, Lexi told me that she does this thing called background on TV shows and movies. And I was like, ooh, that sounds very interesting. And while you're sitting there thinking, that does sound very interesting, let me tell you how it actually is before you decide you want to go sign up and work for something like this. So we move in together. At the time, it was me and her and another girl, 3 of us. It was a friend of hers and her dog and my dog. So we move in, I start doing background with her, and so this is what background is. One thing about movies and shows is that it takes a really, really long time to film. So if a movie is coming out in the summertime and it's supposed to feature beaches and like summer, it wasn't probably filmed in the summertime. It was probably filmed in the winter time, and everybody that was in their bikinis was freezing their ass off. So that's one thing I had no idea about. So I would get booked to go to a beach shoot in the middle of December at like 5 o'clock in the morning in a bikini. And you can't shiver, you can't look cold. Actors and actresses and like staff, you know, some had trailers, some had heating lamps, but a lot of the time, background did not have all that set up. We have this thing called Crafty, which has a couple of snacks, and then that's about it. And you're supposed to just be available at all times, even if they only use you for 5 minutes out of a 15-hour day. Doesn't matter. So there were some really cool things that I got to do. I won't lie. I got to meet a lot of really cool actors. I got to see Robin Williams right before he passed, which is probably one of the best memories that I have about that job. I got to work with Kid Cudi. I got to play his girlfriend in one of the movies. I had no lines. I was his girlfriend. I was one of his side bays, just sitting next to him at a club. So that was fun. But for the most part, it's like 10 to 15-hour work days, extremely long. You usually cannot leave early, even if you have an emergency. Otherwise, you don't get booked anymore. A lot of the times you would get turned down for jobs and you wouldn't know why, and it would hurt your feelings a lot. So I would just try to be like, you know, because I'm 5'6". And a lot of the things that I would appear on would be 18 to look younger, which is like a lot of high school shows. For example, I did the last season of Glee. I was on that entire season. We were filming almost every single day. A lot of the time when they want you to be 18 to look younger, they want you to be on the shorter end, and the cutoff was always 5'5", and I'm 5'6", and I never got booked for like really cool like high school parties and like all that kind of stuff. So next time when you're watching a show or a movie and you see all those people crossing the street or turning up at a club or making out in the corner or whatever it is, if they don't have speaking lines, that's background, and that's what I did. And yes, they actually pay you for that. Not a lot, but they pay you. There are 2 different ways that they pay you. One is union, one is non-union. Union is SAG, and that means that you've done something to earn some kind of something. I don't even know. I'm not union. I didn't know. And that means a lot of the time in the background world, you would get booked a lot less days, but your daily rate was way higher. And that made it worth it. Non-union, you would pretty much work a 10, 12-hour day and get like $50, you know? So that was not prime. But I will say that it definitely held me over until I was able to find better job opportunities, which is really cool. So if it's something that you're looking for, there's this thing called, if you live in Los Angeles, and I believe in New York, they do it too. There's central casting, which is free. You just fill out a profile, you go to their offices, you do all the stuff that you're supposed to do, find out all the information, and you get booked for free. Or you can sign up with different agencies, which at this point, I don't even know the names of them. But then you can, I guess they just put extra effort into booking you and you give them a percentage or something like that. So if it does sound interesting to you, check it out. It is cool on some days. It's just very long days and you're at the bottom of the food chain. Like background, as far as like a film production set goes, like background is just like very bottom of the food chain. Nobody cares about how you're feeling that day or what you like and don't like, or if you're cold or hot. Like, it does not matter. So that's the one thing. It doesn't make you feel very good about yourself. I had to stop doing it because I noticed that it was making me feel like I was never good enough because of the way that I was getting treated on set. So keep that in mind. But if it does interest you, check it out. After I was done, I was like, I'm over this background stuff because it's not even guaranteed work. Like, you'd be hanging out. It could be 7 p.m. You could be chilling in your couch and you're all baked or whatever, you're drinking or you're whatever. And you'd get a text message and be like, you're booked at 4 a.m. tomorrow, 3 hours away. And you're like, well, I might as well pack my stuff and go to sleep now. Cool. Thank you for letting me know. That's always fun. And then they would tell you particular wardrobe that you have to bring, which 90% of the time was not good enough. Doesn't matter what you brought. They would want you to wear something of theirs. Your hair usually had to be in a specific way. Your makeup had to be in a specific way. A lot of the times, like if you're filming like scenes in the mud or in the dirt, they'll put a lot of mud and dirt on you and you have to like lay on the ground and play dead while the actors are like running around and shooting everybody up. So it's like, it's interesting, but now when I watch shows and movies, I see all the background and I'm like, because they make you refilm everything like 20 times. And they always say that it's the background's fault that they have to refilm it. So that's that. I want to make it a note that the entire time, still for a couple of years moving forward, I was not a cannabis smoker. I tried it one time when I lived in Chicago and didn't get the best vibe, which I made a video about that, my first time smoking weed. It's on my channel if you want to go check it out. But then I moved to Los Angeles, started dating a new guy, and started smoking cannabis then. But this was like, I was like 22. Back it up a little bit. After I decided that background is just no more, I started nannying. I signed up on a bunch of like nanny websites. I really enjoyed children for quite some time. I think I'm at that point right now where I know I'm not like anywhere near having them. So I'm just like, you know what? Don't even show me them. So I nannied for like a couple of years for kids between the ages of like 5 months. And then the oldest was like 15 years old. So a lot of bonds that were created. So I did that for a little bit, then decided this wasn't for me. Then I started working at a marketing company, which basically, ironically, would work with influencers. And our job would be, so like, let's say, what did we have? We have Suave body lotion reach out to us. And Suave was like, we want, you know, all these people that have social media following to post with our new lotion. It's very good for your skin and we want to create awareness about it. It's very soothing. So my job was everything from finding the right influencers to reaching out to them, to negotiating what we would have to do, how much product we would have to send, how much we would have to pay them, and going and bringing them the gift bags or mailing them out, to putting together events so that, you know, there's a bunch of like really cool photos and videos created with the product. And the whole time I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I just don't understand. Am I going to be in marketing when I grow up? I don't know. So I did this for a while. I don't know. I felt like I was not capable of growing much more in the company, or at least not as quickly as I would have liked. So I quit that job and I started working at a construction company. I know, the most weirdest combination of jobs. I've gathered all of them. So I started working at a construction company, but it was like on the back end. Like, I would do a lot of their paperwork. I would help out with social media stuff. And in the meantime, I'm like, this is all like part-time. So I'm like figuring out what I want to do. I also did part-time at a jewelry shop, which was interesting. I don't know very much about jewelry. So a couple of days after working there, I was like, I don't think I'm any help to you guys. Like, I was honest about it. I was like, look, I want to help, but I feel like I can't. That was short-lived. As I'm working at the construction company, same thing happens. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know if I get bored or whatever, but it led me to where I am today, and we're almost at the end of the story, so bear with me. I was like, I don't want to work in this construction company anymore. I don't want to sit behind a computer all day. I don't want to fill out paperwork. Like, it was also like very slow paced. The company wasn't very busy, so I was bored a lot of the time, but they wouldn't allow you to do anything else, obviously, because you're on company time. So it's like, well, I'm bored. Like, you know how long it takes for 8 hours to pass by in a day when you're not doing anything and you're not allowed to do anything else? Stressful. It goes by very slow. So I started talking to the parking attendant lady about how I was like stressed out and I just like wanted to switch jobs. And she tells me, oh, there is this company that is looking to hire somebody to do their accounting. Their wife does it right now and she's about to give birth, so they need somebody soon. So I was like, all right, whatever. Let's just try it. So the funny part that I need to mention, okay, so as I'm talking to the parking attendant lady and she's telling me about this company that's hiring, the owner of the company drives up and is about to park in the lot. So she's like, oh my God, don't go in. Like, here he is, I'll introduce you. And so I'm standing there with my hands in my pocket and he comes up, he parks, he walks up and he goes, hi. And he reaches out to shake my hand and I go, hi. And as I reach out to shake his hand, my weed pen falls out of my pocket and falls right in front of him. So I'm thinking to myself, he either has no idea what it is, in which case I'm safe, or he does know exactly what it is. And it's like, why do you know what it is? You should be probably cool with it. So he doesn't say a thing. I pick it up, I put it back in my pocket, like nothing ever happened. They asked me to come in for an interview. I do. They end up hiring me. I find out that the company is actually super 420 friendly. Like, there's 2 owners. The employees were 420 friendly too. So they're like, yeah, I totally knew what that pen was, which we thought it was going to be awesome because you weren't going to be complaining there were a bunch of potheads working here. And I'm just like, all right, that sounds good to me. And this was like after they hired me, after a while. But because they were like 420 friendly, I felt a little bit more comfortable talking about me smoking weed. This is about like June, July, August 2017, like summertime 2017. I take a picture and I post it on my personal Instagram of me holding a bong, and a couple of Instagram accounts share it. These companies start reaching out to me and they're like, oh, we would love to send you some of our products for you to feature on your page. I'm like, okay. So I'm like excited. I'm like, people are paying attention to me. So I come back to my bosses. I'm like, would you mind if I posted cannabis related content? They go, no, we don't mind. However, don't use your real name. Start a different account with a different name. And that way they can't tie it, like our clients can't tie the 2 and 2 together. I was like, all right. I go home. I sit down by my coffee table. And I started thinking about names. Well, I really like koalas. Or what is some smoking stuff that's associated with like little words? Puff, smoke, 420, 710. I don't know. All kinds of little things you could come up with. So somehow I landed on koala puffs. Koala because my favorite animal, puffs because it was associated with smoking. I was like, this works. I like it. Started a whole other channel, started posting, and now I am here. Now, the reason why I'm telling you about this is because my entire life I didn't know where I belonged. Why was I doing what I was doing? Was I meant to do something else, or is this where I'm supposed to be? Whole lot of unanswered questions, and it really weighed on me. It made me feel like I was doing something wrong because I didn't know where I belonged, basically. There came a point in me filming videos and, you know, companies wanting to work together. Obviously, companies that are outside of California offered to fly me out so that, you know, they could meet up and we could film some content together there. That there came a point where I had to choose between filming that content or staying with this job because I couldn't travel and do both. I would be letting them down. My social media account kept growing. I started filming more and more videos. I really started enjoying it. I started playing around with a bunch of different things that you could do while filming, while editing. I started putting together meetups and little events and smoke and paint and hikes and all kinds of things. So I just it started feeling like this is what I'm supposed to do. And it came a time where I had to choose, like, okay, well, am I just gonna give that up? Do I really like this? Is this a hobby? It is cannabis, which was my mom was not okay with that at that point. A lot of my friends weren't okay with it. My bosses, you know, as much as they were okay with it in the beginning, it started getting so big that they started getting nervous for some reason. I'm not sure why. At that point, when I started filming my content, happened, I was not doing accounting for them. I was doing sales. So it was all commission based. Whatever you sold, that's the money that you would make. If you didn't sell anything, you didn't sell anything. So you really had to hustle. So about a year ago, July actually, 2018, I had to make a decision. Do I continue working here, or do I go and I try to build something around Koala Puffs, and something that I really feel like for the first time ever feels like mine and it feels like I belong. And I decided to do that. And honestly, I gave up a pretty nice income to be able to do this, and it was the best decision I've ever made. And now it feels like everything that I've ever done makes sense, and it all kind of helps me. Like I did accounting, now it helps me with all of my accounting. I worked at a restaurant. I'm able to do a couple of YouTube videos with cooking. You know, I know a little bit about cars. I worked at a marketing company, which really helped me understand social media and influencers and prices and costs and engagement and all kinds of things that I didn't know about before. And so now everything that I'm doing feels so natural to me, because it's like as if I've been prepping for it my whole life. So when you feel that in your gut and in your chest, might not be in your mind, but somewhere over here, you're gonna feel like, oh, this is where I belong. Follow that feeling. And trust me, you're gonna feel so good when you do. It might not always succeed, but sometimes you need to fail in order to get put on the right track, in order to do what you're supposed to do, whether it's a job or a project or a relationship. There's so many things. So that sums up my story time about all the little jobs that I've done. Everything led me here, and now I finally feel like I belong. And for one, I want to thank you guys, because every single one of you then comes and watches these videos and interacts with my social accounts and comments here, encouraging me to film more videos. Like, it is so inspiring to just keep going and to be creative and to think outside the box. And I want to thank you for that, because I've never felt more myself and more at home since I've started Koala Puffs. I wouldn't have been able to continue doing this for so long if it wasn't for you. So thank you. I am going to get out of here before I get emotional and start crying. Check out Meister. They have a bunch of different things. You can buy all of this stuff individually, or you could get it as a set. They have some pipes, some dab rigs, some bongs, all kinds of ashtrays and debowlers, and I mean, this box is just really cool. The magnetic part is cool. Also, check out Raoul. And what did we have here? This was Lion Rolling Circus for the hemp blunt. Thank you for listening to me rant on and on about the random shit that I've done in life. I hope you guys like it. I hope it lets you into my life a little bit, and I hope if you're struggling about where you're at, this kind of helps you feel a little bit more at ease and relaxed about that, because you can't just be like that where you're supposed to be. You gotta take steps to get there. And some people, you know, they know since the day they're born. Some people don't figure it out until they're 70. So keep them going with the flow of the ocean that's called life, and I will see you in the next YouTube video. Love you. Share, subscribe, comment below if you're still watching, something about your favorite candy bar since Halloween is coming up. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.